entitled mother showed up to my door and tried to break into my home. She assaulted me, and I had to defend myself. Now she's making herself out to be the victim. So to get you all up to speed, I'm going to give you a rundown of my situation. I went NC with my mother back in October. She threw a tantrum about her husband not being invited to my Halloween party. The reason he wasn't invited, he was abusive to me my whole life. He molested me for 2 years. He sexually assaulted me. He was physically, emotionally, and verbally abusive as well. He's a sociopath. He doesn't give a shit about who he harms or anyone else's feelings. He's a pedophile, and that's why I am protecting my child from him and my mom. I went NC with my mother's husband 2 years ago. Almost. I went NC in May 2022, when I found out I was pregnant, and I moved in with my husband shortly after. My mother tried extreme methods to get her way. She had sent me fake custody papers in the mail to try and scare me. Her husband came to my door yelling and demanding to see my daughter. He yelled, cursed, and kicked my door, which I got with my Ring doorbell camera. He was arrested by officers for not leaving and for threatening them. They have been non-stop trying to contact me. My mother even showed up to my husband's job and caused a scene. So that's the rundown of the whole situation. So my mother came to my door this morning when my husband just came back from his overnight shift at his job. She banged on my door and my husband answered it. For context, this situation was all caught on camera. I have cameras outside my apartment door, and I have one in the house pointed at the door. My husband told her that she wasn't welcome here. She yelled at him and said, "I want to see my daughter. She's been ignoring me. I am her mother. She has no right to treat me this way." I was instantly irritated. I told my husband to go to the back room with our child. I walked to the door and blocked her from getting inside. She was yelling and screaming at me like a crazy person. She threw a tantrum BC. She found out about my daughter's party and she wasn't invited. She said it wasn't fair. She demanded I let her in my house to see my daughter, who for some reason she calls her daughter. It's creepy and weird. She tried to bulldoze her way into my house. I tried to shut my door and she pushed against it. I was flung into the wall so hard it left a hole in our dry wall. I had bruises on my forearm. I screamed at her to get out. She shoved me, and I saw red. I punched her in the face so hard that she flew back. I managed to get her out of my doorway and we shut the door and locked it. My husband called the police. She was arrested for assault and for attempted breaking in and entering, or whatever they'd call it. Now she's telling every one of my Facebook friends a fake sob story and claimed that I assaulted her. Even with the camera footage of her assaulting me, she is still lying. I pressed charges. We are moving when our lease is up in April. We will be moving into a house with my husband's dad for safety reasons. Am I wrong for punching her? I really didn't want to punch her and I feel awful that I did. I was defending myself, but I still feel like it could have been handled differently. I need advice on moving forward and what other precautions I can take. Follow or subscribe